Hello all, myself Dr. Pratima Wag. I am from Department of Microbiology, KTHM College, Nasik from Maharashtra. Today, I would like to introduce one important branch of microbiology, which is applied one, air and water microbiology. It is part of environmental microbiology. In this, first we'll see what are sources of microorganisms in air as well as in water, as well as how they spreads, then various factors affecting microorganisms in the air and water, various types of airborne and waterborne diseases, and with that we'll see prevention, that is how to prevent these diseases. This is a scientific discipline. Air microbiology is a scientific discipline that concerns with the microorganisms, including bacteria, archaea, various types of fungi, number of viruses, and very few protozoa. They are present in the air. And we can easily observe these microorganisms using certain media in laboratory. This is nutrient agar plate, on which number of microorganisms which settle down and form colonies like this. This is fungal colony, while these are bacterial colonies. And these are various types of microorganism present in the air. This microbial load present in air is referred to as air flora. In that, various vegetative cells are included, as well as the spores of bacteria, as well as the fungi, they are included. We cannot see viruses on such a plates. This quantity and types of microbes in air over a particular area depends upon the source of contamination on the surfaces. So here air is mainly contaminated by microorganisms which are present in the soil. With the air current, they enter in the air. Various plant surfaces, water surfaces, then different types of waste, agricultural waste, as well as industrial waste, and you can include up to a certain extent domestic waste also. Then various diseased animals, including human being, they also contribute number of microorganisms in the air. As you know, air is not good medium for microorganism. It is unable to support growth of microorganism because of a lack of nutrients required for them. Here, air just acts as a carrier in the form of a droplet nuclei, dust. These microorganisms enter in the air. The microbial population of the atmosphere is transient, or you can say it is temporary. It is quite variable from place to place. Okay, it changes. So we'll see which factors affect presence of microorganisms in the air. As atmosphere is difficult place for microorganism to survive, presence of a relative humidity, temperature, then radiation plays a huge role in what kind of microorganism will survive in that atmosphere and how long they will stay alive. Radiation poses a potential hazard for aeromicrobes. It damages DNA as well as certain mutations occur in the microbial cells. Temperature must be in an intermediate range, because if too hot conditions are there, it denatures proteins of microorganism. If cold, then there is a formation of ice crystals. That is why optimum conditions required for their survival. Desiccation is the primary stress for them. It limits the amount of time that they can survive while suspended in the air. So here, these factors, temperature, sunlight, then rainfall, locality, as well as the humidity affects presence of a microorganism. On the extent to which air is contaminated, that also plays important role in the air flora distribution. Many of the microbes that are capable of surviving harsh condition can readily form one different type of a structure called as a endospores. This can withstand extreme conditions. So here there are examples of some microorganisms that can resist environmental stresses. You can take example of a Bacillus anthracis, then Aspergillus fumigatus, this one is fungi, and last one is an example of a virus, that is avian influenza virus, can survive, can resist environmental stress. Most commonly found aerobic spore-forming microorganism in populated areas are Bacillus subtilis. Okay, this is the colony of this bacillus-like microorganism. Then Sarcina, this is red colored pigmenting microorganism. Then one more is there, that is yellow pigment producing organism like Micrococcus. Certain species of a Corynebacteria, they are present abundantly in the air. Various spores of a fungi, in that Penicillium, the Aspergillus, alternaria, present abundantly in the air. In marine air, organisms like Chromobacter, Phleobacterium, then bacteria like Staphylococci, they are abundantly present. Now, in what form these microorganisms present in the air? So either they present in the droplet form or in the droplet nuclei, or they may present in the form of a dust or with the dust. So here what are droplets? These are ranging about 100 micron in diameter, and they rapidly fall on the ground under gravity, and therefore they are transmitted over a limited distance. Only up to 1 meter they can travel. While droplet nuclei, these are slightly dried form of a droplets. They are the solid residue of a droplets after drying, and ranging from 2 to 5 micrometer in diameter. They can be transmitted over distance more than 1 meter. And the best example of such a type of transmission of a droplet nuclei, it is observed in case of tuberculosis, Mycobacterium tuberculosis with sputum droplets may enter in the air and be transmitted over long distances. Then with dust particles also microorganisms enter in the air. One more very important category of particles with microorganisms is of aerosols. An aerosol is a colloidal suspension. This is colloidal suspension of a tiny solid or a liquid particles. Or you can say they are smaller size droplets suspended in the air, such as a dust, mist, or fumes. They can be generated from environmental sources or from human sources. And the bacterial aerosols produced naturally in the nasopharynx during sneezing and coughing is thrown into the air. Nowadays, as you know, coronaviruses spread very easily, and the reason behind it is the aerosols with viruses which enter in the air. This is best example of it. How they spreads. Air is mainly a dispersal medium for microorganism. In this figure, you can see large number of droplets with abundant moisture enter in the air during sneezing or a coughing. And once suspended in the air column, these microbes have the opportunity to travel long distances with the help of a wind and precipitation. So, number of airborne diseases occur because of such a type of transmission via air currents. In that, number of bacterial infections like anthrax, whooping cough, and tuberculosis, with number of viral infections like influenza, measles, chickenpox, meningitis may occur. Airborne diseases are caused by pathogenic microorganisms. And here, as you know, coughing, sneezing, even talking, laughing, close personal contact, or aerosolization of the microbes are responsible for it. So, first we'll see various bacterial infections. In that, you can include diphtheria caused by Corynebacterium diphtheriae, then Bordetella pertussis. This organism is responsible for a whooping cough, then Bacillus anthracis, then Streptococcus. This causes pneumonia. Haemophilus influenzae, Legionella pneumophila also causes respiratory tract infection. Then Neisseria meningitis causes disease like meningitis. This is a very dreadful type of a situation. Then certain methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, they are also called as a MRSA. They are resistant to number of antibiotics. They also infect respiratory tract, and the source is air only. Mainly in hospital environment, it is called as a nosocomial infection. This organism mainly causes infection to the patients. Then Yersinia pestis. This causes pneumonic plague. And the best example of an airborne infection is a infection by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. That is TB, tuberculosis causing microorganism. So all are very important organisms which are transmitted via air. Certain viral infections, the best known example of a viral infection transmitted by air is of our coronavirus. You know everything now about this coronavirus and how they spread from one person to other. You know them very well. With that, some other viruses also transmitted, which are influenza viruses, chickenpox viruses, then measles, German measles, mumps viruses, hantaviruses, chickenpox viruses, as well as rhinoviruses, that is common cold causing viruses. So this is a broad category which is caused by airborne pathogens. Certain fungi, they also cause infection, and here example is of Coccidioides immitis and Cryptococcus neoformans. Both are very important respiratory tract infection causing organisms, and with that you can include one more fungi, that is Aspergillus species. Now here important one for us is Cryptococcus neoformans, because in multi-storied building there is always a problem of birds like pigeons, and here these fungi are mainly present in pigeon droppings causing infection of lungs. So these are certain fungal infections. Now, next to this, that is how to control all these infections. So, or how to control these microorganisms present in the air. And you know, role of air sanitization, okay, which control not only coronaviruses, but other infections also. So, air sanitation is control of airborne microorganisms. And sanitizing is the process that reduces the microbial population on an object to a safe level. So here number of physical techniques are there. First one is control of a dust. So here use of a dry vacuum pickup followed by application of a suitable disinfectant detergent solution is one physical technique to control this airborne flora. Second to which is a UV radiation. This is not widely used at home, but for operation theaters in hospitals, this is widely used. Some germicidal lamps, they are responsible for emission of 250 to 260 nm wavelength having radiation, This will kill or inactivate microorganisms. Then one more system can be installed, that is laminar airflow system, in which HEPA filters are present, and these are designed to create a particle-free working environment. So these are some physical techniques. With that, one can use certain chemicals also to control these airborne flora. So inactivation of a microorganism using sprays. So in that, hypochlorous acid is included, chlorine dioxide, quaternary ammonium compounds, various glycols like propylene glycol, triethylene glycol, iodophores, formaldehyde, ethylene oxide, propionylactone, etc. All these chemicals reduces the load of microorganism, mainly the vegetative cells of microorganism present on the surfaces. So with that, sometimes some other methods can be used. In that, electrostatic precipitation is included, as well as certain heating methods, which are not used very widely. So this is all about how to control air flora and which microorganisms present in the air causes infection. So after this, we'll see in detail about some water microbiology, waterborne infections, etc. So about this water microbiology. Again, this is the discipline that is concerned with the study of all biological aspects of microorganisms. Again, bacteria, archaea, viruses, fungi. And now here important one is protozoa category is included here because they mainly rely on the water. All these exist in water abundantly because they require abundant moisture for their growth. So here we'll first see categories of water. As you know, there are various types of water: fresh water, marine water, estuarine water, including lakes, rivers, seas, springs, and these inhabit natural waters. So as you know, water is essential to life, but many people do not have access to clean and safe drinking water, and many of them die because of waterborne bacterial infections. And in general terms, the greatest microbial risk which is associated is with ingestion of water which is contaminated by human or animal feces. So here, which types of bacteria and protozoa present abundantly in contaminated water, that we'll see. And with that, which factors affect presence of microorganisms in the water. So air microflora, here temperature is one important factor affect water flora. So when microorganisms are present in very cold water, that is below 5 degrees Celsius having water, they are called as a psychrophilic microorganisms. So here in cold region, one can see such a type of a psychrophile, while the second category is of a thermophile. Here temperature is up to 75 to 80 degrees Celsius. That is not tolerable one for human being also, and these organisms can survive, can grow in such a condition. So Thermus aquaticus is name of that organism which can grow at a higher temperature. And here it is observed that some microorganisms can survive in geothermal vents like in Gemas Basin, in Gulf of California, where 250 degrees Celsius temperature is present, and they can survive at that temperature. Example is of a Methanopyrus candleri. This is heat and salt-loving archaea, and this makes its home on the chimney walls of a smokers at the base of oceans. These are present abundantly. Here, these microorganisms in the laboratory can divide at 122 degrees Celsius. So this is too high for human being, and at that temperature these microorganisms can survive and multiply, and here they grow best at 98 degrees Celsius, that is near about boiling temperature for us. Now, some microorganisms can tolerate high pressure. Now, these microorganisms are called as a piezophilic microorganism or a piezophile or a pressure-loving microorganism. And these microorganisms have maximum rate of growth at hydrostatic pressure equal or above 10 megapascal. So the current record of a highest hydrostatic pressure where growth was observed is 130 megapascal, and here it is by Thermococcus piezophilus. They can tolerate this pressure. With that, we have to consider one more factor, which is light. Here, photosynthetic microorganisms like algae, cyanobacteria, purple sulfur bacteria like Thiocaspa, chromatium grow abundantly in presence of a light. These are aerobic photoheterotrophs. They are also abundantly present in marine water column, making up more than 10% of the bacterial flora. These bacteria are often easy to isolate from seawater. Erythrobacter and Rosiobacter are example of it. Next factor which affects water microbe flora, that is turbidity. This affects penetration of a sunlight and affect photosynthetic microorganisms. And next to which is a salinity. This is most important part in case of a microorganism present in the seawater. So organisms which grow abundantly in high percentage of salts NaCl, they are called as halophiles. They are classified based on their optimal in salt requirement, and some are extremophiles. That is, they require up to 20 to 30% of its salts for their growth. Next to which is the moderate salt requirement, that is 5 to 20%, and last one is a slight requirement, that is 1 to 5%. Based on this, microorganisms, halophiles, they are classified. Now, examples of such a halophiles: Halovibrio, Pseudomonas halophila, Halomonas, Halobacterium, all are examples of this type of a halophiles. I'll give you one example of a halophiles which recently identified in the water of a lunar lake in Maharashtra's Buldana district. This lake, which was previously like this, that is normal aqua blue colored having lunar lake, turned pink recently, that is during our lockdown period, this turned pink in color. And the color change, this one can be attributed to the presence of massive growth of one organism called as a haloarchaea in the salty water, and it changes its color because of the pigment present in this haloarchaea pink. It turns that particular lunar lake to the pink colored lake. Then next factor which affects growth of microorganism in the water is its pH. Some microorganisms can grow in extreme conditions, in acidic as well as in alkaline condition. So the organisms which can grow at pH less than 5.5, they are called as acidophiles. And you can see here example of a Yellowstone National Park having a large number of a sulfur oxidizing sulfolobus species. These are best example of acidophiles which changes color of that particular area, which is yellow in color, and this is best example of acidophile. Second to which is example of one more extremophile, that is alkalophile. So as name indicates, these organisms survive better in the condition where pH is higher one. So Natronobacterium found in the Soda Lake of the African Rift Valley may hold record of pH 10.5. So these are all extremophiles. Now, here in this figure, you can see various types of microorganisms which are observed naturally in one lake system or in one system where there are various types of zones. First one is the limnatic zone where abundant oxygen is present. And here, as there is a penetration of solar energy, sunlight, there is abundant growth of algae, cyanobacteria, in the upper zone of the lake. This is the limnatic zone. Some Pseudomonas, Colobacter, they also present abundantly in this area. Next to which is the profundal zone. Here, this is slightly less oxygen penetrating type of a condition, microaerophilic situation. And here, there is a mainly growth of a purple and a green sulfur bacteria. Beneath this, there is a benthic zone that is very low or no oxygen tension in this area, and there is a growth of obligate anaerobic microorganisms like Clostridium and methane producing organisms. So based on the oxygen availability, you can classify water microflora in this way. Now, next category is presence of fungi in water. So there are total 444 species of marine fungi have been described. Example of one of such a marine fungi category is Dosima fascicularis. Then second one is freshwater fungi. Their role in environment is considered important because these are important decomposers in freshwater habitats, and they produce various types of enzymes which breaks down organic matter present in the water. So not all organisms are pathogenic or disease causing. Their role in the cleanup of environment is also important. Then next category of microbes present in water is of viruses. The majority of viruses identified in freshwater environment, and these are nothing but bacteriophages. And along with the diverse human and animal viruses, they are present in the water. The best example of presence of a bacteriophages, the virus category in the water, is of a river Ganga, where the number of bacteriophages were detected to be approximately 3 times more in proportion than the bacterial isolates. So this is a unique characteristic of river Ganga water, that is presence of a bacteriophages which infects bacteria, which kills bacteria. Then at a concentration of 10 raised to 6 to 10 raised to 9 viruses are present per ml of a sea water. So this is a huge number. Water transmitted viral pathogens also we have to consider because they are important. Various types of hepatitis caused by HIV, HEV, they are waterborne type of diseases. Then rotaviruses, various types of polioviruses and enteroviruses also present in the water. So next to this is category of protozoa. Protozoa mainly rely on water only, and so here their role is important in disease causation. Toxoplasma gondii, Entamoeba histolytica causing amoebiosis. Then organisms like Naegleria species, which infects the brain of a children playing in pond water, they are considered important in this case. Then Acanth amoeba, Sarcocystis, then Balantidium, Blastocystis hominis, Cyclospora. These are some other parasitic protozoa which may present in the water. But most important one protozoal category which is present in the water is Cryptosporidium and Giardia lamblia. They are dreadful infections causing microorganisms, protozoa category. So in the next part, we'll see various waterborne diseases. So these are not only caused by bacteria, but also by various types of viruses, fungi, etc. And here, when you fill your next glass of water, you have to take care of presence of all these microorganisms in it. So here waterborne infections like typhoid, then dysentery caused by Shigella, cholera caused by Vibrio cholerae, various types of gastroenteritis caused by Escherichia coli, Campylobacter jejuni, Pseudomonas causing infantile diarrhea, then Yersinia enterocolitica, Helicobacter pylori, Clostridium species, as well as Bacillus cereus we have to consider. These are all pathogens, these are all bacteria, may contaminate water and may cause infections to the human beings. Number of them are noted for the causation of epidemics. Example is Vibrio cholerae. Large number of people affected by Vibrio cholerae from many decades, not only in India but in various countries in Europe. Then various types of viruses. Here, best example of a waterborne infection is of a hepatitis A virus infection causing hepatitis A. Then next to which, and nowadays considered severe infection causing virus. This is mainly infection of a liver, hepatitis E virus. Then hepatitis F virus. You know best waterborne infection, which is now considered as a extinct type of disease, that is polio viruses, polio caused by polio viruses, and lastly in the children, infection caused by rotaviruses, rotaviral diarrhea. So this is a virus category which is waterborne in nature. The next category is of a protozoa, Entamoeba histolytica. This organism, this protozoa causes amoebic dysentery. Then Giardia lamblia, Giardia intestinalis causes giardiasis. Cryptosporidium causes cryptosporidiosis, and in this way you can see various types of a protozoa causing infections in human being. In that, various types of tapeworm infestations also included. This is mainly because of a use of a contaminated water, or the use of a contaminated water for washing of vegetables, responsible for the occurrence of an infection in human being. The World Health Organization has laid down drinking water standards. Water entering in the distribution system, if disinfected, coliform count in any sample of 100 ml should be 0 according to WHO. E. coli count in 100 ml of any sample should be 0 according to it. Then here nowadays one more bacteriological examination is carried out to find out whether there is a fecal pollution of a water or not, and organisms itself used as an indicator of a fecal pollution. This refers to the kind of microorganisms whose presence in water is evidence that the water is polluted with fecal material from human or from any other warm-blooded animal. So here you can see a list of microorganisms which are called as a indicator of a fecal pollution. In that, Escherichia coli, Bifidobacterium, Streptococcus faecalis, Clostridium perfringens, Campylobacter jejuni, and Pseudomonas, they are included. If these organisms present in water indicates there is a fecal pollution. Last part of this study is disinfection of a water. So after primary and secondary treatment to the water, there is a various methods of a disinfection of a water carried out. In that, chlorination is included, ozonation, or sometimes UV radiation and membrane filtration. Using this, we can kill variety of microorganisms present in the water. So we can summarize this air and water microbiology in this way, that the presence of these minute living forms, microorganisms, in the two great fluid media, air and water, with which we are surrounded, are of a great importance. Their impact on mankind we are experiencing today in the form of a COVID-19. The type of microbial populations differ in different type of water habitats, such as unpolluted, polluted, and marine waters. In unpolluted water of a mountain lake or a stream, there are usually low organic nutrients, and so number of microorganisms also limited. Autotrophic bacteria are common, with some free-living protozoa which are not harmful, like Paramecium, Euglena, and some types of amoeba also. While in polluted water, major types of bacteria are coliform bacteria, and under certain conditions, the polluting microorganisms multiply rapidly because of a high nutrient level for them, and because of which they utilizes maximum oxygen and leads to eutrophicated or a dead water body. Now this is about some microorganisms, but some important beneficial microorganisms also present in the water. Microbes also help in the treatment of wastewater by promoting the decay of all organic matter from the water resources and help in the decomposition of a toxic material. So this is all about air and water microbiology. If any difficulty, we'll see in the next session on air and water microbiology. Thank you very much.